Up here for the school interview.
Richard,
How you doing today, brother?
how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
Good to see you.
Same to you.
Find the place okay?
Yeah, I did. I came all the way from Anoka. That's where I live at.
Oh, so it was a bit of a drive. And
Yeah.
It's not great weather.
Yeah, it's not great weather. The snow, I got my wife
You
driving.
train in Rio? From Anoka?
Yeah.
That's a long drive.
I was pushing it all the time, all these years.
What is that, like an hour?
It was.
This guy drives down from Big Lake.
Oh,
He lives almost damn near out in St. Cloud.
Oh, and it's worth it. You know,
Yeah.
you find the best. You know, the people you think.
Yeah. Are you still at Rio?
Mm-hmm.
Very
I'm still
cool.
with them. Hi, my name is Richard Brandon, and what's your full name?
Brandon Bergeron.
Brandon Bergeron.
Bergeron, yep.
Okay. All right. Well, today question I want to ask about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and your academy. Could you explain a little bit about how your academy and stuff roll?
Well, there's a lot to that question, I guess. Well, we have a beginner-friendly foundations program. So if someone is new to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they come into our foundations program where they learn about a lot of the basic fundamentals of Jiu-Jitsu. They learn the most common positions: mount, back control, closed guard, open guard, half guard, things like that. We basically show them what they generally want to do from each position,
Okay.
just to get them up to speed on what some of the basics are.
Okay.
Then we have another program in our academy here, the Mastery program, and that's for people who are more serious about Jiu-Jitsu. They want to go through the ranks, they want to get their blue belt, purple belt, their black belt one day. And in that program, we go through a lot more of the nitty-gritty details, and we really peel back the layers of techniques and seek to understand them at a much deeper level.
Okay. So we're gonna get straight into it. Do you got like the competitive classes and stuff like?
Yep, Friday night we have a competition class on Friday night that we do both gi and no gi. Our Friday nights do change once in a while, but we've been doing competition class for about the last year and a half. So that's what it is for now. It could change in the future.
Okay. Have you like bro with other high? Matter of fact, I forgot to ask you like your ranking.
Black belt.
Black belt.
Yep, first degree black belt under Greg Nelson.
Oh, okay, that's really good. How you compete with anybody in ibjjf on a like high level?
Yeah, I competed against a few guys. Vitor Silverio. I competed against Oliver Taza. Trying to think of I've competed against Dante Leon, who absolutely crushed me. Competed against Hobson Rodriguez. He's more commonly, I think, referred to as nickname as Mau Mau or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, I've competed. Who are some others? Thomas Keenan at Fight to Win. I competed against John Combs at Fight to Win.
Who would you think that, who would you think that was most best that you think you probably was like neck to neck, like you could see yourself?
Yeah, okay. Let's see, who did I have I had a really close match. Well, depends on the rule set, right?
Okay.
Depends on if you're working with points or if you're working with submission only.
Okay.
So it's a really difficult question to answer.
When like the points in IBJJF rules.
Let's see. Vitor Silverio, he is really fast. I know I took him into overtime Again, he passed.
good.
Yeah, he passed my guard, but it was like submission only. So I took him in overtime, couldn't submit me. Did the same thing with Max Jimenez is another guy I've competed against, who's a high-level competitor, outweighs me, has a lot of weight on me. Took him into overtime as well. That's another situation where he was able to eventually pass my guard, but because it was no points and submission only, there wasn't really, he didn't really get rewarded for passing my guard. Let's see, anybody else? Dante Leon absolutely crushed me. That guy's on another level. He was insane. So good, that guy is, yeah.
Like, was it like he was fast, the pressure?
Fast, powerful, strong, explosive. There's, you name it, an athlete. And not to mention, not just all the attributes, but he has good technique too. He knows exactly what he has to do from each position. So grappling him was on that was a new experience. Very cool.
Then, like, I noticed, like, back then when I first met you, I rode with you, and I know, like, your game is really good. Really,
thank you.
It's on a higher level, with the worlds and ibjjf, so I can see you taking first.
Maybe one day.
One day, but yeah, because I mean, you got your game. It's like it's pressure down, and you really got a good deep pressure, and you don't leave no rooms for nobody.
I appreciate that, Richard. Yeah, I try to take away, if I'm on top, I try to take away as much space as possible, and I try to get wedges set in tightly, positions where my opponent's going to have tough time framing and making space and getting away. Just staying super tight, not giving them any space to work.
All right, okay. How you ever rode with, I'm going to bring his name up again, his name,
Marcus Bador?
Yeah.
Locally? Yeah, Marcus is a tough guy out of M-Theory. Real tough, very fast, very fluid, sharp technique, very good at crab rides and barren bows, getting to the back, those kinds of things. Very, very slick competitor.
Yeah. How do you think he would match up with, what's his name? I kind of put him in the same bracket with him, Mikey
Musumeci?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that Marcus, I think builds, I don't know for sure, I know Marcus a little bit. I'm not like tremendous close friends with him or anything, but I know him. I think he emulates a lot of what Mikey does. Mikey and Marcus have a very similar game. Now I think Marcus has probably built some of his game studying Mikey and Cowterra and those guys. So I would bet that, if you had to ask me, I'd say probably Mikey, right? Because I think Marcus is trying to do Mikey stuff, but obviously Mikey does Mikey stuff better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But Marcus is no slouch.
Yeah. I seen him, like, I watched him for like 4 years. I'm like, that guy,
Marcus is tough. When I've trained with Marcus, I feel like me and Marcus, can go head to head, neck and neck.
Right.
And I outweigh the guy by, probably 20, 30 pounds, and he's super scrappy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, would you like to compete him in a competition or something like?
I've competed against him a couple times in the past as we've been coming up through the ranks. And I've competed. I've beaten him whenever. I'm pretty sure I've beaten him 2 or 3 times, or whenever we've gone up against each other in competition. But that was a different time. I was a different grappler. He was a different grappler.
Right.
That was many years ago.
Yeah.
The me of today would definitely beat the me of that time, and the Marcus of today would certainly beat the Marcus of that time.
Hey, right. I just want to know. I ain't trying to get no schools, because we all here in Minnesota on the same one.
We're on the same team.
Yeah, here we go. And can you name some other schools here that you then went and trained and know any good high levels up in there
around here?
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of cross training. I don't go around to a lot of different academies. I train at my place here in St. Paul. I train at the Brooklyn Center Academy, which is the headquarters.
Yeah.
I train there 3 days a week. I'll go down to Eden Prairie Academy and train there once in a while as well.
Okay.
Hayden is running his own school down there, and he's got his own crop of students that are coming up. And Hayden recently got his own black belt, and he's another competitor who's he's a gamer. He's tough. Once in a while I've made it over to M-Theory, and that's an incredibly tough tournament school.
Okay.
Incredibly tough competition team over there. Yeah. So M-Theory is another great school. The Marcus is from.
Oh, okay. And any more names that's out of your your academy that you can name?
Kelly Johnson. I mean, have you spoken to that guy yet? That
I
guy's.
haven't spoke to him, but I know who he is.
Oh, he is.
He's sweet. He got a nice heart.
Very nice. Not just that, he's won so many tournaments for many years. He's done the Pans and Worlds many, time after time, and he goes on, he medals all the time, and yeah, he's anytime there's a competition or any sort of competing in jiu-jitsu opportunity, Kelly Johnson's going to be, right there for the opportunity.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, Hayden Buckner would be another guy to look into. He's been getting a lot better recently too. Hayden has been making a lot of strides this last 6 months to a year. He's been really getting serious with his training and doing well. And then we got some other good guys up there that are also tough, but they're not competitors. So I don't know if this is just for competitors or not, but there's a guy up there named Kyle. He's very, very tough. And he's a great training partner up there. We got a lot of black belts. It's just we don't have too many up there who are super into the competition scene. I'd say me, Kelly, and Hayden are some of the more active competitors there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a kind of, I'm not knocking, but I kind of more into the competitive way. That's get the drilling rush going.
Sure.
Yeah. So, man, you got a lot of competitive here in your gym?
We got some. I only started my gym about 5 years ago or so I'm still growing up my competitors. We got a slew of students that enjoy going out and testing their skills at the competition scene, at the local tournaments. I think it'll take me a little bit more time before I'm able to foster and grow up some competitors who are ready to compete at some higher stages. I think that'll be maybe a few more years down the road.
Okay. I ended up supposed to be competing against him.
Oh, Ryan Potabom. Yeah, he's another tremendously tough competitor out of M Theory Martial Arts in St. Louis Park. I've competed against him a couple times in the past. He's always a really tough, scrappy guy, tough wrestler. You're not going to have an easy match with Ryan. I think I did beat him. I've had a couple matches against him. I've beaten him both times, but neither of those wins came easy. And if I recall right, I think Ryan Potabom might have some medals at some of the bigger stages, like Pan Ams or Worlds or something like that in one of his Masters divisions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's another fierce competitor.
Oh, okay. You got any lower ranking belts that placed up in them ibjjf, brown, purple, going down, anything?
Let's see.
At the headquarters?
Yeah, at the headquarters or here?
Either one.
Here, I do have a couple up-and-coming students who are quite tough. He hasn't been around. He's been training virtually from home because of Corona and Zoom. But Matthias Simon, he's competed at a few tournaments, and he's always a nightmare to deal with. He's fast, he's athletic, and he learns quite well. So if he starts coming back and competing again, I think he can make a name. He could certainly establish a name for himself locally, I think, if he were to knuckle down and get to it. Will Keith is another one of my students, a younger guy. He coaches some of the foundations classes here for me. And he's got really great body movement and coordination. He learns really well. He's committed and dedicated, and I think he's another guy who could become a fierce competitor in the local scene in due time.
Oh, okay.
Got Winnie as well is another one of our students. She's a white belt, a 4-stripe white belt, and she's done a couple tournaments now. First tournament experience was a little bit of a shock factor because she wasn't used to going that hard, but then her second tournament she slaughtered many of her opponents, ran up the score 20-something to 0 and finished, and she was doing tremendously good work at the white belt.
Oh, okay. Well, another question I was going to ask, ever since, we've been on lockdown or whatever, do you think they kind of mess with your competing level or getting back up there on a high level? Did it kind of mess with you? Taking time off?
A little bit. When we were locked down, when we were forced to stay inside and not train and not do anything, obviously, we probably all put on a few pounds. We all got a little slower. Yeah. We all maybe gave into some bad habits or whatever. But what's important is that once we're able to go out again and that we get out and we do the thing, we go out and we go back to living our lives and we get out of, we don't sit in the safety of these habits that we've built over the last year of staying inside and not going out. Eventually you got to go out there and live in the world again.
Right. Are you ready looking for big competitions like the World, the PAM?
Well, I went down to Master Worlds this year and I won my first match by submission, lost my second match by points in a guard pass, and then went down to Iowa, did a tournament there. I'm doing a tournament here in the cities in May. It's like a 16-man bracket that Valhalla is putting on.
Oh, okay.
ADCC trials are coming up at the end of the year. I'm debating if I want to go do that or not. I'm getting to the point where now I'm 31 years old. I've had 3 spinal surgeries.
Ooh.
So I'm getting to the point in my career where I'm starting to transition, maybe coming out of the competitor scene a little bit, maybe taking a little bit bigger role in the coaching spot too.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know that probably kind of like touch you there, because competing, man, it's just
tough.
You don't want
tough work.
Yes, it is.
It takes a lot of work to go out there and be your absolute best on performance day, and it's very exhausting, very tiring, and you gotta be really motivated to go out there and perform really well at the high level.
Yeah, I can see that. But so tonight class, what are you like teaching?
So tonight in class, we're still working on our chapter of passing open guard. In this week's topic, we're going to be looking at passing from what's called over the shoulder line, or we're trying to pass our guard and our opponent inverts, where they spin themselves underneath of us, so we're kind of standing up over their head and their feet are over there. And how do we deal with that kind of a situation when our opponent inverts and we end up over the shoulder line? How do we pass from there? And that's going to be tonight's lesson.
That's awesome. A lot to train with. Pretty much, let me see, I've seen all the trophies in here. You've been competing a lot.
I've been competing, well, if you include football, many years. I was a competitive wrestler for a while.
Oh, let's get into that.
Oh, yeah.
You was wrestling with
high school.
Okay.
Just high school wrestling.
Okay. With your wrestling, do you take that same transition with your takedowns and stuff into your
My wrestling style way changed. When I wrestled, I was high school, teenager. I was a kid.
Right.
So in wrestling, I learned a lot of tenacity and just come forward and drive and a lot of pressure. And it was a very physical sport. Then with jiu-jitsu, I was physical jiu-jitsu for a while, but eventually I started taking the physicality aspect away a little bit because of my spinal surgeries, and I started to really focus on the knowledge and the technique portion and being able to slow myself down to avoid injury. So now my wrestling and my grappling is based much more on control and not so much on speed. When I was coming up in wrestling, it was very much speed and physical and explosiveness and physical attributes, whereas now both my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu are much more based on kind of slow, methodical control.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see, got me looking around here, that you competed in MMA?
I did, yep. I had 17 MMA fights.
Oh, man, that's sweet. The difference between, when you competing with your jiu-jitsu on a mat and taking it into your MMA, was it?
You don't want to play open guard so much in MMA. You don't want to stay on your back very long. You don't want to hang out down there, because you can certainly take some punishment for it. Whereas in, the sport of jiu-jitsu, you can stay on your back all day and not really be punished for it all that much the way you would be in MMA.
Okay. Do you got any in the gi? You got a special move that's good,
just the basics.
The basics.
I like a lot of basics. I wouldn't say I have any special moves in the gi. Just I have various gripping options that allow me to assert better control, to slow you down better, and to get more and more control of you. But I wouldn't say any special moves.
Okay. Later on in the future, you see a lot of black belts here out of Minnesota.
Oh, there's more all the time. Yes, there's already a lot more here than there were 5 years ago. Oh yeah, there's so many more now than there were 5 years ago. The growth of jiu-jitsu in the state of Minnesota has been exponentially, getting faster. I think.
Getting faster. A lot of black belts.
Exponentially growing, yeah. A lot of black belts, a lot of white belts and blue belts, more and more purple belts and brown belts too.
Okay. You see, what I'm gonna say is, you see them taking in the worlds and the PAMs a lot.
Some already have, and I'm sure more will.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Sebastian, I think he win PAMs or worlds this year, and I think out of M Theory, like I said, Ryan Potabom I think has won a title at his division, and I think maybe a Kevin out of M Theory has also done quite well and won either Pans or Worlds or other high titles there. Kelly Johnson won Pans and Worlds in his divisions. And so yeah, we've had a lot in the past, and I think we're going to continue to have in the future.
That's nice. Well, I think we'll let this and...
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you too.
It was a pleasure.
Hi.
Cheers, I go, I pass. The feet are not pointing at me, so I don't have to worry about the feet. I want to get to the pocket of the hips. My hands go right here. My head goes into the pocket of the hip. And we come down and we take side control. So one more time. We're looking to control the pocket of the hip. And in order to do so, we're going to have to generate hip exposure. We do that by driving those ankles to the floor. I come in. I want to get the pocket of the hip. It's too tight. I take these ankles to the floor. And there's the pocket of the hip. That's one, if the knees come away from the chest. Or two, if he keeps everything really tight. Or here. And now we're going to start throwing hooks in. All right. Any questions on that? So I'm here, I step to the outside, I start trying to pass and over the shoulder line. I can't find the hip exposure, I'm trying to push everything away. Maybe I get the knees away a little bit, but I don't get the knees far enough away to really get my shoulders inside the knees. Okay, so there's not enough space to get my entire body to the pocket of the hip, to get my big, broad shoulders and chest to the pocket of the hip. Are there other parts of my body that I could try to attack the pocket of the hip with? What do you guys think? I could try to come in with the knee, but I'm going to say that even my knee, I would say, is a little bulky. What is maybe the thinnest, the smallest wedge I could come in with? Zach, what was that? My wrist, my hand, not even my wrist. I could make a knife hand right here. I only need that much space. I only need his legs that far away from his chest to wedge my wrist and eventually my elbow into the pocket of the hip. So it starts with a knife hand. It starts with the width of my fingertips. And as I drive my arm all the way across the hip, that's going to drive the knees away from the chest, and eventually I'm going to get my elbow into the pocket of the hip. So I'm trying to come through here. I'm not finding success. I take a hand off the ankle, and I swim a knife hand right here. I go around the outside. A knife hand goes right here, so my hand is into the pocket of the hip. Now, when I wedge the pocket of the hip, and I want to keep his legs out, what is important about the structure of my body? What do I need to do from here? Zach's got it. Who else has it?
Elbow knee.
What?
Elbow knee connection.
Elbow knee connection. Or as Zach said, the V frame. So I want to make sure as I come around, right now Zach can exploit the space between my elbow and knee and get his knee back inside. Okay, so when I'm here, my elbow's controlling the pocket of the hip, but there's this big gap for him to get inside position. If I come around with that gap open, his knee's right back inside, and I can still fight his legs. So I'm here, I'm trying to drive his knees away from his chest, but I can't get his knees far enough away from my whole body. So I come in with the hand. Now I connect. I step up and connect knee and elbow together. Now with my knee and my elbow together, that gap isn't there for Zach to exploit. So when Zach goes to bring his knees inside, and I drive my knee across the pocket of the hip, I shove his legs out, and I land right in V-mount. We've seen V-mount before. What do I need to be aware about, or thinking about in V-mount? Let me ask it a different way. Which two of my limbs am I going to use to fight through Zach's frames? My knee and elbow. Which knee and elbow? The right side knee and elbow. Why the right side? Why not the left side? The left side's busy. My left arm and my left leg are already doing tasks. If I take my left arm away to take care of his frame, his foot comes back in. So when he's got that, I can go here with my right arm or with my right leg. So now when Zach tries to bring that leg in, my control in the pocket of the hip controls that leg. If I take that control away, his foot can now point at me, he's gonna shove me away, okay? So here in the V frame. From the V frame, I use my right arm or my right leg, or a combination of the two to take his frames out of my way so I can eventually get down and get chest to chest. One last time, using the thin knife hand into the pocket of the hip, one of my favorites. Come through, taking that away, not working. I bring elbow, knee together, and I drive everything through. One more time, real slow. That was fast, my fault. Go to the side, push through, get this angle. I want to create hip exposure, so I'm going to try to bring his knees away from the chest. And they're only coming away a little bit. Not enough for my shoulders, but enough for a knife hand. Enough for a knife hand. Here. And then don't forget, once your knife hand is in, connect your knee and elbow together, and then drive across the pocket of the hips. Now, my right side can start clearing these frames, and I can get chest to chest, and now we're ready to go through and start working on our submissions. Any questions on using the knife hand into the pocket of the hip to go to the V mount? All right, let's partner up. 1, 2.